enough of the darker side of fandom.
Don't say it like that.
So I defined Are we reading what this is? Okay. Supernatural. This is Fandom Wink, which is a insane. No, not insane journal. What is it on? Journal Fan. Is called Fandom Wink, and they define supernatural as like all shows that were started on the WB. It's about pretty white kids with problems. In this case, it's two hot brothers fighting evil monsters and stuff. So that's basically.
Oh, recess? Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, then they kind of list all the winks that we have had. So recently, one of the things that wink I defined for you, because some people will hear that, oh yeah, we were winking about this, or we were doing wink. So this is kind of the definition that, like, when I think when someone says, oh, there's wink, this is what I think of. It's basically, it's viewed as a behavior which is self-indulgent or egotistical. And it contains self-grandizing postures, circular ego stroking, endless flame wars, and being of self-righteous diatribes. So this is kind of what I think of when I think of wink. It's usually one person says one thing, and then everyone has an opinion about it. And it can be, I agree with you, I don't agree with you, and then it kind of becomes this giant ball of flame wars, and just it's a circular thing. Wanky goodness, basically. Depending on whether or not you're personally involved with it or not, has a lot to do with whether or not you think it's funny or, no, they're wrong. That has a lot to do with it. So yeah, the Fandom Wink, I put the website up there. It's really popular, and Supernatural is featured on it quite a bit. And actually, if we go so many days without one, I swear to God, they just make one up. They're like, it's been 40 days since Supernatural's been on here. We should just think of something. I'm sure they're arguing about something somewhere. Because as our size has kind of grown. Can you read that? That's what they think of us. Who's going to juggle kittens? That's also Joseph. You're making me lose my train of thought, Kate.
I don't think everybody can read the text on there.
Which one? The weights?
All of them. The second one, it's next.
Okay, so the weights that they have listed that you can link to and actually read about is anything related to Wincest, studs and ankles is a fish fucking hobo wrestling, hook addicted pregnant hermaphrodite. LOL draft horse. Most things featuring CKLL. Jets and ankles is married to Stephanie Wayne. And Team Register is misogynist, which is the last one we're actually going to touch on in a much broader scale in just a second. But so those are just ones they list for us. But every couple months there'll be little ones. But the Wincest one is a never-ending battle. There are people that think it's awful. There are people that think it's fantastic, and they're never going to agree. Most of the time we find a nice equilibrium and kind of we stick in our own corners of fandom when we don't really, cross the lines and come over and poke each other. But occasionally we can't help it, and there's poking and it erupts. And especially you'll notice that during you'll notice that if we have a hiatus, we don't have anything to do. So if we don't have anything to do, why not start a flame war? Or why not, something that's been bugging me for 5 months is finally going to bug me to the point that I got to post about it, because there's no new show, there's not new material to talk about, so the best thing for us to do is to just basically wank and make each other's lives miserable. Okay, so the recent wank that we had, this is like the latest one that we had. And it was this is where it started, basically, was Says Let's, I guess her name is, posted this. Dear all you whiny, self-important females, please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up about Dean and his, I keep saying this, misogyny. I have to say that, to a point, I agree with you. It annoys me that Sam has taken it after brother and started behaving like a jerk. This has never been a part of Sam's character the way it has of Dean's, and I think they're taking this whole Sam becoming like Dean thing too far. Sam and Dean generally annoy me this season. In fact, that's entirely a different kettle of fish. So she put this in her live journal, which is totally valid. It's her point. That's her stance. It's her opinion. It's her journal. There's nothing to stop her from saying this. However, the rest of the fandom got to read this and came back with either "I agree with you" and "Dean sucks," or "I agree with you" and "Kripke sucks," or "I disagree with you" and "You suck," or "I'm upset over Fandom" and "Wink sucks." Or points that they had. One of the things that, another characteristic kind of a Wink is that it's polarizing. You either feel really strongly one way or really strongly the other. And with this Wink, that's exactly what happened. People kind of sat in their camps and they either liked it or they didn't, and they argued to the death about it. This one went on. It would flare up every once in a while, basically when a new episode would come on, and Dean would say "bitch" again, and then it would flare up again. And then it died down, because he'd be okay for a couple of weeks, and then, it'd flare up again. So I'm actually going to hand this over to Sam right now, and she is going to take us a little further into this Wink.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'll push the wrong button and the room will explode. So I had no idea about this whole Wank thread because I have limited time online, and I don't know about a lot of the SPN communities and stuff that's out there and stuff that's going on in fandom. Because I spend all my time reading RPSAU. So when she posted about misogyny and supernatural, I am a feminist activist and also an artist, and my sort of way of expressing my feminism in the world is I started an all-female theater company 11 years ago, and we're still going strong. But so this was a topic that really appealed to me. This is something that I don't hear talked about a lot in fandom, and I really miss its presence because these shows affect the way we look at the world, and they affect the way we look at ourselves. I mean, all you have to do is spend a little bit of time reading the Buffy boards, and you'll find testimony after testimony of women whose lives were changed by Buffy for the good, who are now activists involved in women's issues and things like that. So this stuff does matter to the larger world. So I wanted to put forth a little dissertation here, so please bear with me. So first, my apologia. I am a supernatural fan. I wouldn't have spent countless hours of my already ridiculously overburdened life putting together this little piece of information if I didn't feel passionately about the show. But part of being a fan, I feel, as opposed to being just a consumer of the show, being a fan of the show means an active engagement with the show, including voicing what we feel would make the show better, holding an open dialogue about what we observe, and not being afraid to speak about what we feel should not be compromised in a medium where we understand nonetheless that you can't always get what you want. So, my dissertation. Let me make clear right off the bat that I don't expect SPN to be a feminist show. It is a show about two brothers, a show that is in some ways defined by its lack of female influence on the two main characters. Plus, it's on the same network as Pussycat Dolls and America's Top Model. There are two shows that have single-handedly probably pushed the women's movement back by 50 years. So, expectations are relatively low. Leaving aside, however, the issue that there are no comparable shows about two sisters on any network, which is a panel for a different place and time. In the past, Supernatural has been pretty good at creating female guest stars that, although their function is to be rescued by the male heroes, still manage to have some agency of their own. Haley in Wendigo, Sarah in Providence, Cassie in Route 66, Deputy Kathleen Hudak in The Benders, Susan in Playthings, Ava, to name some of the memorable examples, and there are quite a few. These were women who had lives of their own and were powerful, if not autonomous, in their own spheres. Ellen had agency for days with the Roadhouse, And then, of course, the show burned it down. If she does come back, and I really hope she does, I'm a big Ellen fan, it will be interesting to see what she has made of herself and whether she has gained herself some agency, again, in absence of the Roadhouse.